As of today, I have watched the movie Morbius 34 times. The initial viewing in April 2022,
and in September.
31 viewings over the course of May 2023, and once more while putting the finishing touches on this script. Maybe it's just like Stockholm Syndrome or something, but I feel like I need to stick up for Morbius.
Yeah, that's right. I
We should kill him with hammers.
Even though it's probably one of the worst Marvel movies in the last couple of decades, it was 1,000%, no, 1,000,000% set up to fail.
Fun facts about Morbius. He's super fit.
Pilates helps.
So children, relax, sit down, grab your weighted blanket and your pillow pet, perhaps your mandatory YouTube dinner as well, and get ready for a history lesson on the tragedy of Michael Morbius, starting all the way back in 2012. And if you're a little piss baby who's sitting here going, I don't want to sit through 12 years of historical context, shut up. You're gonna sit here, and you're gonna take it, and you're gonna like it. Plus, also, if you don't, I'll just put the timestamps in the description. But anyways, it's Morbius time.
Excuse me, Skibbity Toilet or Phantom Tack?
Rizzler Academy Volume 10.
Morbius' failure started all the way back in the year of our Lord, 2012, when the Avengers popped off, and Sony, like the greedy little goblin it is, said, before we engage in the annoyingly inconsistent joint custody battle that became Spider-Man movies, Sony had full ownership over Spider-Man and all of his little connected characters. Now, let me point out something right away. You will come to find out that the well of interesting characters besides Spider-Man to make a Spider-Man movie about was very shallow. Okay? But I'll tackle that, deeper later. But one day, Sony's best and brightest producers came together and shared their collective brain cell and said, wait a minute, let's make a movie series about Spider-Man's villains.
An idea.
And thus, Sony said, Eureka! And the lamest cinematic universe was put into existence. Like, bro, I do not care how good Andrew was as Spider-Man. That beautiful British bastard him. These movies do not work in tandem. Amazing Spider-Man 1 came out and had pretty good reviews and made a lot of money because Spider-Man. And then Amazing 2 came out with much, much worse reviews, but still got a lot of money. People did not want to see a movie that was basically a trailer for the third movie. And that's when Sony said, you know what, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's start over from square one. Let's just, think of some new, better ideas, another way we can take... I'm lying. They fully committed to it.
Hold on. Wait. But then you learn that you shouldn't say shit like that?
Aye. But I also learned that the best and worst part about being
Sony.
is you don't have to learn anything if you don't want to.
Sony was still trying to figure out how to get their cinematic universe off the ground when people were starting to get sick of the actual good cinematic universe. The MCU people don't like that. No one likes it now. And now, enter the Morb.
Cut it out, you're gonna make it mad.
I don't give a fuck, Keisha.
But Mr. Kai, why did Morbius become a meme? That's what some of you might be asking in your little baby voices. And the answer is, I don't know.
It's just the way it is. I'm just a messenger.
It probably didn't help that he had one of the worst ad campaigns of the year. And I only say one of because, the Babylon ads were coming out around that time.
Me watching my kids on Christmas morning. Me when I have the house to myself after one Duolingo session. Me trying a new makeup trend.
But Sony just had no idea what to do with this man. Like, it's actually befuddling. Every time Sony would have a press junket or a press release or a press anything, same thing every single time.
Michael Morbius is a doctor born with missing DNA and gives him Crutch's disorder. He mixes bat DNA with human DNA to zip-zop-zip.
It's the Lizard. It's exactly the same as the Lizard. And it definitely did not help that they were trying to call him a Marvel legend.
I am Venom.
He is not Venom.
His run-on sentences are killing me, bro. I don't think you guys get it. Making a comic series about less popular characters like, you know, Morbius or Big Wheel or Stiltman or whatever is a lot less risky and, need I mention, a lot less expensive than making $100 million movies. All of them desperately wishing they were these deep character explorations, but just turning into games of 6 Degrees of Spider-Man. Sony is over here making movies about a guy that the average person does not care about. Nobody cares about Morbius, even in the comic sphere. And they're going, don't worry guys, he's gonna be awesome in that new Spider-Man movie that might come out in 6 years. And around the time of TASM 2's release, the interview trailer dropped. And it was not very well received over there.
Largest act of corporate espionage in history was perpetrated due to this film.
And due to some nice Korean gentlemen, some Sony emails and such got mysteriously put out, and what became confusion and fear slowly turned into disgust for Sony, I mean. So looking at the emails, you can see that there are a lot of ahas. They have, you know, some good ideas in here, like an animated Spider-Man movie. Ooh, that would be cool. Having him in Civil War, you know, and begging and pleading for Sam Raimi to come back. But there would also be a lot of terrible ones, okay? Some of the less hope-inspiring Spider-Man emails include, but are not limited to, a Snapchat-based Spider-Man movie to connect with the youths. Ignored story notes that would have drastically fixed Amazing Spider-Man 2, given directly from Kevin Feige himself, the creator of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that they were aggressively meat writing at the time, as well as murmurings of an Amazing Spider-Man 3 with characters brought back from the dead, a Black Cat and Silver Sable movie, an Aunt May spy movie, a now soon to be released Kraven movie, a now soon to be released movie about Madam Web.
Hey guys, I think I might be coming around to watching Madam Web.
And a hopefully canceled El Muerto movie starring Bad Bunny as the famous wrestler El Muerto, a Spider-Man antagonist literally in 2 issues. Hey guys, so I did a quick update to the script. They almost canceled it, but they didn't cancel it. They're still doing it, but without Bad Bunny for some reason. Also, they brought in Bad Bunny because of his role in Bullet Train. And if you've seen Bullet Train, you know why that is extremely stupid. I'm just at a loss for words. The whole reason they made it was because of Bad Bunny, so good luck with that, I guess. They were really desperately scratching and clawing at the innermost, deepest, most private parts of the barrel, just straight in its guts.
Drop it, I don't want to talk about it. Drop it, hell? I want to hear about this, homie. I said forget about it, cuz.
April 1st, 2022. The movie drops, yes, on April Fool's Day. Don't talk about it. And in the following days, Morbius cements itself in legend. Now the rest, I'm doing a lot of interpretation here, so it might be a little unclear. The turnout, I'm guessing, was so great that when my dad and I saw it a week later, I think everybody just already watched the movie because absolutely nobody had picked any tickets or any seats to see the movie. So I guess everyone really liked it already. And what do you know, a complete 24 hours after buying a ticket, when the app said nobody else was going to buy a ticket, nobody was in the theater. Huh. Wow. We had the whole theaters to ourselves. Yippee! So, how was it?
Michael Morbius. Got tired of doing the whole good guy thing, huh? What's up, Doc?
This nigga is trash.
Hey, that scene that I just showed in the trailer, that wasn't even in the movie. And it's not like how movies normal, like in the trailer, almost none of the scenes are in the movie, or if they are, they're like cut and entirely changed. It's really weird. This was done to ride the No Way Home hype train at the time, along with mentioning Black Cat and Rhino, two Spider-Man villains. I love it when movies reference things from other much cooler movies. Yes, yes, yes. So after a lot of giggling, immediately cut off by pure rage by the literal worst post-credit scene in superhero movie history, a second viewing on Netflix a few months later, and a great many months of mental preparation, I decided to partake in a thing I call All Morb May. It was originally supposed to be All Morb March, but I had a lot of classwork, and I think if I had to do that in addition to watching Morbius every single day, I might have actually tried to kill myself.
Hey guys, is anyone else going to be doing the All Morb March Marathon Challenge, where we watch Morbius every day for the entirety of March? I'm the biggest Morb, 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 hey! You don't want to bet, messing with the Morb, it's messing with the Morb, you end up in the Morb. I'm the biggest Morb, call me, I'm about to Morb. You never seen nothing like that in your whole life, man. That's straight off the dome, I'll tell you what, boy.
1 hour and 44 minutes, 38 not counting credits, trust me, I know, of a Frankenweenie of a movie 31 times. Some nights, I was up until 1 a.m. trying to squeeze in Morbius at the very last minute. It ruined my life. One day, after a long, hard day of working, I came out of my room, and my sister said, "Kai, can you please play Minecraft with me?" And I said, "No, I'm sorry. I need to watch Morbius." And she grabbed my arm and pleaded, "Kai, can you please stop watching Morbius?" It was like that scene in that movie where Leo DiCaprio is a crackhead, except instead of crack, it was Morbius. Or like that movie, what's it called? Requiem for a Dream? Who was in that? Jared Leto, wait a minute, hold on. One day while doing it, my friend Taunt asked me, "Why would you do that?" And I said, I don't know. Maybe if I put my mind to this, it could prove I can put my mind to anything at all. Plus Ultra. And he said, maybe I can do that, but with the gym instead. Unrelated, but Taunt is also evil and racist.
I'm the biggest Morb, 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 hey! You don't want to bet, messing with the Morb, yes, messing with the Morb, you end up in the Morb. I'm the biggest Morb, come about the Morb. You can't even say my name.
Morbius. Morbius is cheeks, bro, but it is a great watch. I wouldn't say great like good, but great like this movie is completely and utterly stupid. This is great. Morbius is an amazing time capsule of a film. Films that like perfectly summarize everything wrong with a certain time period of film. Much like one of my other favorite movies. My favorite X-Men movie, in fact. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
That's cool.
Also, while I was looking up clips for this video, I found this Gambit Spotlight trailer, and he just has this gymongous ass Pharrell hat on. Like, I don't even know why he doesn't even wear it in the movie. And I'm like, why does he have a trailer even? He's only in the movie for like 2 minutes. And one of them is at the very end, and he doesn't even. It's weird. I don't know. This is the review. I'm talking about the movie. after finding out that Morbius is a little baby genius, so a real young Sheldon, his caretaker, Nicholas, decides to send him off to become a world-famous genius. And he does. And also, Milo becomes a billionaire for some reason. They don't explain it. I don't know what. I don't know. In his time, Morbius repeatedly manages to do illegal experiments in the most unsecure room ever.
Like, look at this. He's just
DNA with bad DNA.
crimes against humanity. Never heard of it.
Talking about? Is anything ringing a bell?
Oh, okay, Morb. She's going directly towards it. She's pressing the buttons.
I wouldn't go in there if I were you.
Okay. And okay, he just don't care.
So anyways, Morb, he leaves to become a super genius, and Milo stays with their caretaker, Emil Nicholas, and he becomes like a trillionaire. Again, they don't explain how. Morbius, he turns down an Oscar, or not an Oscar, what's it called? A Nobel Prize. And he's like, no, I don't want it. And then he goes back to his lab, and there's a little black girl who's she's kind of like the spunky kid sidekick, but then she goes into a coma and then is never mentioned again for the rest of the movie. Morbius creates a cure for his disease that will drastically change the course of human history in like 3 minutes by mixing like some human DNA with bat DNA. Ooh, hopefully nothing bad happens. I hope nothing bad happens, Morbius. So Morbius and Martine Bancroft, who's like his lab assistant and love interest, and she's also like the most gorgeous woman on the planet. My God, like, look at her.
I need to bring this up before I move on. Morbius turns down the Nobel Prize, and he was also broke because of this. He turns down the Nobel Prize because he doesn't want any credit whatsoever for creating artificial blood, which he basically made by accident while trying to find a cure for his disease. Artificial blood is a universal blood substitute that can be used on anyone, seemingly made on the cheap, because everyone from high-ranking doctors like him to normal day paramedics are able to use it and just have it. And he hasn't capitalized off of it. He hasn't monetized it. He hasn't patented it even. They say he created it, but he doesn't seem to be earning anything off of it because he keeps begging for money. So it's just like wildly stupid. Like, I get he's prideful, but that is just stupid. Not even Tony Stark would accidentally create a new element and be like, nah, I don't want it. That's dumb. So the Morb goes and meets up with his super billionaire friend Milo to ask and beg for money again, like the little wimp, the little beggar that he is. In the span of like 2 minutes, Morbius goes from like,
how is your sex
to
life?
We need a shipping freighter and several armed mercenaries to perform illegal experiments on me in international waters outside of America to work outside the law.
And Milo's just like, yeah, all right.
Also, international waters is listed as a location. Like, it cracks me up for some reason every time I watched it, because it's like in Civil War, how it would say like Berlin, you know, Uganda or whatever, Senegal, and then in Infinity War it just said space in big old white letters, like international waters. Like, you can type it in on Google Maps. Oh, international waters, it's 15 minutes away. Let's drive there. Let me drive the boat.
Nah, bro, what did this guy
It's
just
so
say?
stupid. I don't know. It goes wrong, obviously. Like, come on, it's a Marvel movie. And this scene where he's like in the tube or whatever, and he's trying to break out, is like actually really tense and nerve-wracking, how he's like bouncing against the glass, but each time it like cracks a bit more. It's actually really unnerving, surprisingly. I like it. And then it's immediately cut short by Morbius going on a bloody rampage with no blood in it.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Also, you gotta love this scene. What a gentleman. Wow, tucking her in on the cold, bloody, damp cargo ship floor. Thanks.
So yeah, what started off the kerfuffle was Martine getting knocked out by one of the mercenaries, and then him eating and drinking a bunch of people, and then he comes back to normal, and then he looks, and then he's like, oh my god, I'm ripped, I'm shredded, but also I ate and drank all these people, oh my gosh. And then he's like, ugh, and then he jumps off the boat and then swims back to New York.
That means this guy swam at least 12 miles, worked out for some unknown period of time, purged himself, came back, and then was still doing all this. Like, he's a Bucky character or something, dude.
Then, the two best characters in the movie come into the scene. Officer Detective Tyrese Gibson and his sidekick Al Madrigal come to the scene. And they look at it for like 3 seconds and then immediately go like, yeah, vampires did this, bro, come on. Morb gets back home and tests out his new powers. And then he tries not to drink blood because he needs blood now, and only human blood, despite the facts that bats don't just drink bat blood or any type of one blood, but whatever, I guess, whatever, who cares. And then Milo comes in and he sees Morb, and he's like, Michael, what's wrong, Michael? And then he gives him some of the fake blood to drink, and then he downs it like a Capri Sun. I love it. But what's funny to me is Milo sees the fact that he's regular now, and then he's like,
one mile,
please. And Morb is like, no, this is a curse. While he stands there like shredded and then in a constant state of being like oiled up. Also, Jared Leto was like 50 when he shot this. I think he might actually be a vampire or something. Good for him, though, I guess. There's another pretty tense scene where a nurse is like running down a hallway and all the lights are flickering and it's like, and bro is moving on the wall like a bat on the walls.
Nice grammar, buddy.
And it's really predictable, obviously. Like, if you've seen any horror movie, you know, he's like, oh my gosh, oh, I finally turned on the light, I'm safe. Oh, jump scare! You know, but it's just like, it looks visually cool. I like it. Morbius wakes up again next to the little black girl who does... This is her last time. We never see her again after this. They never even mention her or say her name or even allude to her.
So Morb's like, oh, that was some good sleep. Oh, what's all this commotion outside? And then sees the body, and then he's like, oh, and just bounces. He just leaves.
But Officer Detective Tyrese and Al Madrigal come in to see. Also, this reminds me again, I'm sorry, this movie got absolutely butchered in the editing room. Like, Tyrese was supposed to be a cyborg, and then they changed it to where from he lost his arm in the war to he almost lost his arm, but they never show it in the movie.
I can help you.
First, I want to say thank you. Your artificial blood actually saved my arm in Afghanistan, sir.
I'm glad I could be of service.
But yeah, they meet up with Michael, and then they're like, Mike, we know you ate those dudes. And he's like, nuh-uh, I'm just a little cripple boy. I can't do nothing. And they're like, And then the radio is like, Roger, there's a dead body in the Michael Morbius building. And Morb hears it with those super listeners of his. And then he's like,
I'm running. I'm not fighting. I'm running.
And then he jumps, and then he's like, whoa, Matrix. Now, guys, can anyone tell me what's wrong with this scene? It might be a little hard to notice, but just tell me what's wrong with this scene.
Get back up and meet me up top. Enough.
Okay, so this man got from here to here and here.
Anyway.
Holy water? Really?
What? I'm not taking any chances. It's triple blessed. I'm starting to get hungry. You don't want to see me when I'm hungry.
So Morb goes to jail and Milo comes in and he's like, we've got to get you out of here. You didn't do this. And Morb is like, maybe I did. I don't know. And Milo's like, okay, whoopsie. I left you this little bag of fresh red blood and also my cane. And Michael, he starts morbing out. He's like, Rah! and he drinks it, and then he breaks out, and then they go in the middle of the street and they start arguing, and he's like, Milo, why did you do it? And he's like, I'm not gonna let you turn me into a cripple again. And then they start fighting and have a big CGI fight, and Matt Smith is just having the time of his life. And then Morbius gets its ass beat by a dude who's had his powers for like an hour and then flies away like Rico in Just Cause. So now Detective Al Madrigal starts tracking Martine through the city, and she gives him the slip and gets on a city bus and reads a newspaper where it says Morb is eating people and such, and Morb is already on the bus, and he's like, hey, don't believe everything you read. And rather than Martine running away, because at this point she already saw him turn into a demon and literally eat a guy in front of her before being knocked out, and when she wakes up hearing that he ate like 10 dudes from the police himself and showing her the dead body, she's just like, I believe you. There's good in you. This is where we start realizing the morality of this movie is like really, really weird. The whole movie, and in fact, the whole trailer is like killing is bad, and he's a doctor who has to decide between killing people and saving himself. I think that's the plot of that game, Vampire with the Y. But they never really give him a hard moral conundrum. Like, there's never a scene in the movie where he's about to lose his powers and then, you know, the only thing he can drink is like a baby or like a puppy or something. Like, when he was getting interrogated, they're like, hey, we know you killed all these guys, but they probably deserved it. Who cares?
You know, 8 dead mercs on a boat really doesn't ruffle our feathers. I'm pretty sure they were guilty of something and happy to have them off the water.
Okay. So after the two get off the bus, they have lunch. And like the commenter Johnny Manise says under the clip known as talking to Lila in the cafe scene, Morbius 2022. Also, I don't know who Lila is. I think that's the wrong Spider-Man movie, I think.
Question. If Michael is wanted for the murder and his picture is all over the headlines, then how is he able to drink coffee in a public diner without somebody reporting him to the police? Finger on chin emoji.
Well, Johnny boy, don't you worry your pretty little head about it. The movie sure won't. But this scene happens.
Coffee?
No thanks, I quit caffeine.
Let's decaf.
Not that kind of vampire.
Just checking.
And to be honest, I actually kind of like this scene. It's actually kind of cute. I don't know. It's just me. So Morb tells Christine he can't drink blood, otherwise he won't be able to control the beast inside of him. Now this scene is pretty cool because we actually find out that Morbius must also have gotten super foresight or something, because some counterfeiters happen to come into the exact same store as them. And he says, wait a minute, these guys are making counterfeit money. So that means they have a chemistry set. I'm guessing that's true. But then he also says they probably have a chemistry set which can make and has the exact materials needed to create a bat-human hybrid DNA antigen or whatever it's called. Which is... I'm no scientist, I'm no chemist, but I do not think that the materials required to make fake green paper and the materials required to literally bend God's will is not the same. So, who am I? Really, I don't know science. I'm no Morb. But regardless of that, it leads to the best scene in the entire movie. I'm not joking. Actually, the best scene. I'm just going to play it in its entirety. It's so good. It really makes me sad, because if they had stuck with this kind of more like self-aware, like tongue-in-cheek tone without becoming a full MCU comedy, I'm doing massive finger quotes. In fact, in the script, I put like 4 quotes on both sides around comedy. It probably could have been a really funny movie and at least been somewhat interesting. But forget about trying to fix this mess. What am I, Nando v Movies? Morb struggles with his urges some more and spills out his heart to Martine. And oh my god, I love this part. But I guess Milo is jealous or something, so he gets drunk and kills somebody. No, he kills somebody randomly. Kills some guys randomly at a bar, then goes home and then gets drunk again. And then his mentor Nicholas is like, Milo, my goodness, Milo, you need to stop drinking and eating people now. And Milo's like, why aren't you proud of me? And then cuts him and then hits him with like the meanest hook I've ever seen in my life. My goodness. Like, this man left a shockwave after punching him. It was like JoJo or something. That's insane. So Morb finishes his anti-Morb serum and has 2 doses. One's for Milo and one's for himself. Oh no.
No, Big Morb, don't do it, bro.
Morbius describes the serum as
deadly to bats, fatal to humans.
Anyway.
So I'm guessing Nicholas also has a superpower of being a super dumbass and decides to call Morbius instead of calling the hospital or the police or anything. So Morb zips there and he's like, Milo. And Nick's like, yeah. So Milo gets Martine off screen and starts hurting her within Morbius's earshot and messes her up pretty badly. And so Michael gets there and finds her. He's like, no! Why, God, why? Why have you forsaken me and killed my girlfriend? And so she's like, I'm not dead yet. And then they kiss. And then she like bites his lip. And the blood drips down onto her lip. And she licks it. And there are like no words. Final battle. Finally. Morb fights Milo and gets absolutely embarrassed. He gets cut across the chest and he's shocked and he's like, oh. But it's like, you're a scientist. You checked if you could do like backflips, but not if you could heal better, which is the entire point of why you made the serum, to heal you. Anyways, Milo and Morb fight so hard, they just pile drive each other through like 18 miles of concrete directly into the subway. And then this is where Morb learns absolutely nothing. There's no character growth throughout this movie. You don't learn anything. He doesn't learn anything. However, he does learn how to use his radar sense better and attracts bats and shoots a bat Hadouken at Milo.
I will not let you destroy my world!
And then kills him and stabs him. Oh Jesus, I'm recording this in my car because it's really easy to for sound and everything like that. And I looked over and I saw my dad staring out the window like he was the clown from Gumball or something. It scared me. I was like, Jesus, it's this dude. But anyways, this scene is really heartbreaking because this is where you realize Morbius probably just forgot his name. He calls him Milo the whole movie, and then right now as he's dying he's like, Lucian. And I didn't even mention this, everybody calls him Milo. That's weird. That's like if everybody called, you know, your husband Snookums or something. It's really strange. It's really strange why everyone calls him that. Like maybe he took it up as a nickname, but then having to explain. No one ever asked like, hey man, why do they call you Milo? And he's like, well, it's actually a funny story because all of his other roommates would leave or died or something, and he called them all Milo because the first one was It's really weird. I don't know. So now Morb is kind of heartbroken. You know, his dad died. Basically, his girlfriend died. His best friend just got killed by somebody. I forgot who killed him, and he doesn't know what to do with that second serum. He doesn't know what to do with it so much that the movie just forgets to bring it up again. They don't even show it. They don't mention it. He doesn't even look at it and go like, not today, or put it in his pocket or nothing. So I guess they just forgot to film it. Or maybe it got cut out because that's just the type of movie we're dealing with. It's so much fun. So Morbius flies out of the crater they left. Like, it's literally something out of like Rumbleverse. They literally suplex directly into the sewer. It's nuts. He flies out and who else is there but Officer Tyrese and Al Madrigal doing nothing as usual. Yay. Like, just even looking back over this movie and talking about what they do in my head, it is crazy that they do absolutely nothing and yet they get so much screen time devoted to them doing nothing. So I think that's pretty cool. I love it when movies don't do anything with characters. Pretty nice. So Morb flies past Tyrese and Al Madrigal, and then we see Martine, and she is back alive again because of the Morb blood. I don't know. They frame it like they're gonna explain it in the sequel. Like, buddy, that's very generous. Very hopeful on your part, you know, but whatever. We see Martine come back to life, then it goes back to Morbius, and then it cuts to black. The end. It is crazy. Like, just describing it and watching it each time kind of jolts you. It literally goes from the last fight scene to the end of the movie. It's insane. That's like if Iron Man at the end, he killed Jeff Bridges, and then it's like, whoa, and then the movie ends. Like that that's not how structure works, but okay. Got my Morb mug here. What was it Mark Wahlberg said? Friday at the mosque, Saturday at the church. Assalamu alaikum. I love Mark Wahlberg. So yeah, I'm sitting here with my Morb mug, recording this video as real me because CapCut just keeps crashing, and I'm like, yes, because I'm like, do I have a speech impediment or something? Because every time I like say an S or something, it's like, but I just want to touch on 4 quick thingies, you know. So the main reason I made this video at first was to talk about All Morb May, but it quickly spiraled out of control, as most of my, you know, essays and stuff like that do. But I guess before I get into the gross nitty gritty of the review, the last part, I want to tell you how you yourself can do All Morb May. So, or March. It's March 1st as I'm recording this. And, well, the Morb resides in all of us. I guess the real treasure was the friends we morbed along the way. Basically, what you need to do is have a Morb mug. This I've had for 2 years now, which is an insane thing to think about. But you need a, you know, something to drink, something to eat. I recommend, you know, goldfish, Cheez-Its, popcorn, something you can snack on. Not every day, obviously, because you just keep eating. You're gonna end up like me. You saw me in that little dancing video. Yeah. I think you just need literally anything. If you want a snack, just something to tide you over. Most definitely try to have it on your phone if you watch Morbius. Always try to, first off, have 2 hours cut out of your day. So that can mean when you get off work, when you're done with class, when you're trying to relax, even at, like, you know, 11 p.m. you're like, oh, I'm tired. You know, that still counts as that day. At the time, it was May 2023. So I had just finished my first college semester, and the summer courses didn't start yet. So I had just finished my spring semester, and I was like, you know what, let me just do it. You know, nothing to do. So I did it. And Was I working? Yeah, I think I was working at the time. So, honestly, if you like, I'm not saying you should, but if you want to, just know it's not. It gets really unfunny really fast. Like, eventually, you stop finding things that you notice. Um, but I feel like it's the perfect movie that you can rewatch 30 times, because if you watch a good movie 30 times, you'll be like, oh my God, I'm tired of not even 30 times, 30 times in a row, essentially. If you watch anything 30 times in a row, you'll be sick of it. But I feel like Morbius is like a 5 out of 10. It lays perfectly between garbage and actually interesting. So I feel like it's easy to rewatch. It's not a good rewatch, but it's very easy. I frankly I didn't like, in hindsight, in at the moment I hated it, but it's really fun, just cuz now I can basically recite like the whole. I tried trying to like memorize the script, but I think like if I had to sit down and be like, from start to finish, no. I feel like something like, The Incredibles or something, Spider-Man 3 maybe, stuff I grew up watching, then maybe, yeah. But Morbius, no. But I you need a Morb mug, something to eat, something to snack on, something to drink. I recommend Milo's Lemonade, because the character Milo, go in the mug, drink it up. It was, and it's a good length too. The movie's a good length. An hour 44, I think an hour 38, no credits. So yeah. That's it really. I think 2 hours cut out of your time, something to drink, something to eat, and it takes a good amount of mental fortitude, surprisingly. Because I think at some points I honestly wanted to cry, because I was just like, this sucks, bro. And because the movie isn't great, obviously, but you come to understand it, which is what I want to talk about. But when you watch the behind the scenes videos and stuff like that, and interviews and trailers, and then you start looking at that and noticing stuff in the movie, you're like, wait a minute. So yeah, I think it's I wouldn't, don't do it. I'm advising you, don't do it. But if you want to do All Morb March or All Morb May, go ahead. Just heed my warning. Drink, snack, will to go on. And I think that's about it. Alright. Time for the fun stuff. Alright. Let's see. The Morbius post-credit scene is especially abhorrent. So the scene starts with Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming being teleported into Morbius. Now, after the fact, recently, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse came out, and they were like, well, you guys, you messed around too much, and you teleported people from their dimensions. But I'm like, no. I feel like this, they tried to make you think it was Across the Spider-Verse. It was not Across the Spider-Verse. This was No Way Home. They used the same portal from No Way Home. It's the same purple rift, whatever. So if it wasn't, you would have used the little hexagons or the little, what's it called, like the little Kirby dots and everything. But no. So basically, he gets teleported into a supermax prison on Morbius's planet, and So after he lands, he goes like, "Oh, the food's better in this joint," rather than being like, "Oh, I'm never gonna see my family again," you know. So Morbius. So the news anchor is like, "Hey guys, we just found this guy named Adrian Toombs, who doesn't exist according to any of our records. So we just let him go. If some random guy just got a Rice Krispie, these are so good." But yeah, if some random dude just magically appeared inside of Guantanamo Bay, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm cool with this," and there was no record of him, I think it would be safe to say to just leave him in there. But okay, whatever. So they let Michael Keaton out of jail, and apparently off screen, in the span of like who knows how long, manages to build a new suit from scratch. It looks exactly like the old one, only the face plate is different, and it looks a bit better, the face I mean. But it's like over the course of 8 years that last one was built, but apparently he just builds it. Could be a week, could be a day, could be a year. We have no idea how long, but quite clearly not long enough. And so he meets up with Morbius. He's just driving, and it looks like an Audi commercial, how it keeps showing like the dashboard and everything like that. This Rice Krispie is so good, dog. So anyways, somehow Morbius and Michael Keaton get in contact with each other, and Michael Keaton somehow doesn't sound like an insane man to him, talking about like aliens and magic and witches and stuff like that. But they come in contact, and he's like, "Hey Doc, I've heard a lot about you. I'm from another planet. What did he say? Like, I'm not from this dimension. Think it has something to do with Spider-Man." This dude is a random crook. What does he know about like dimensions and multiverses and stuff like that? And then why would you assume it's Spider-Man? It is, but last time you fought him, he was wearing pajamas. It was covered in sewer water and garbage juice and everything like that, because you dropped a building on him. Like, it just doesn't... It's one of those things where it's like, we know, it's safe to assume for us, because we have prior knowledge. You don't. You've been in jail for like 5 years at this point, and you're just like, well, maybe, like, you just guessed. Okay. And so he's like, I'm listening. And so Michael Keaton says, "I think we should put a team together. A few guys like us think we could do some good." And then Morbius says, "Intriguing." And then it ends. You can quite clearly tell they just red lines him, and he was on a green screen, and he just went like, "Intriguing. Tell me more." Like, he sounds like a Skyrim NPC. He doesn't sound like he's delivering actual lines. Ding, ding, like ding, 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 ding. Intriguing. Ding, 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 ding. Tell me more. Like, dog, come on. Now, this scene in particular really summarizes what I hate about the modern superhero movie, and especially with Sony. First of all, I think I need to point this out. Sony is really bad. I know, shocker. But Sony was willing to let people believe that Morbius was the reason Across the Spider-Verse got delayed. They're like, "Hey guys, we're moving back Across the Spider-Verse, but we put Morbius here." Yeah. Like, no. The reason it got delayed was because you guys were exploiting your workers and junk. We're making them work triple, double overtime. Whatever SpongeBob was working. Not even the graveyard shift, the afterlife shift. How you guys were forcing these dudes in, day out to work. And then it said the movie just ends across the Spider-Verse. I love that movie. I love it. I have a separate mug just like Morbius. And I love that movie. And mug. But no, it's like I love it. I love it. And then they're like, well, you see, well, you guys will love Morbius. Now they didn't say it. They didn't even hint, but they made it kind of like, it's kind of weird how they pushed it back, put Morbius in as kind of like, don't worry guys, you'll love Morbius. Like we obviously won't, but they were perfectly fine letting us ride the Morbius hate train, hate it, and push it back when they said Across the Spider-Verse apparently didn't even have an ending. They tested it and found out that apparently even the editor, he went on a podcast and talked about it. He said the movie, it goes last reveal of the movie. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it, but you know what it is. It's like, what? And then it ends. The way it is now, it's like, what? And then they have like a little outro to it because it's a part 1. But they were literally just going to have it end essentially in the middle of a scene. The same thing people were making fun of Fast and Furious 10 for. The fact that it just ends. And they were going to do that too. And they're like, hey, at least it's not Morbius. Dog, what? And also, again, that phrase always bugs me. In the last scene, he goes, I think you and I should put a team together, should do some good. Because we know they're the Sinister Six, we know they're not going to do good, obviously. They're called the Sinister Six, not the Sublime Six or whatever. But at the rate they're going, it would make more sense for them to be a superhero team or whatever. What, Venom? He's a lethal protector, so he's doing good, but in a messed up way. Morbius, he wants to do good. Vulture, he's probably like, it seems like he's like redeemed, or at least is like, hey, I'm not gonna steal anymore, you know. And he even was cool with Spider-Man at the end of Homecoming. He was like, you know what? Nacho came up to him. He was like, hey fool, let's cut his head off, put him in the dryer. I don't know why I made Nacho sound like that. But he was like, let's just kill Spider-Man. He was like, I don't know who Spider-Man is. If I did, I'd tell you. But now he's like, I think Spider-Man did this. Maybe not the aliens or the Thanos or like another blip or whatever. Just Spider-Man. Okay. But it really gets under my skin because I'm like, why would they want to form a team? We know why Sony wants them to form a team. Team means name recognition, means money, but it doesn't make sense. You have Morbius, who doesn't know who Spider-Man is. You have Vulture, who shouldn't care that Spider-Man lives or dies. You have Kraven, who's an eco-terrorist, shouldn't care. Venom, he probably doesn't care who Spider-Man is unless Spider-Man gets in his way. Bad Bunny, a guy who probably like wrestled Spider-Man, even though none of the Spider-Man, like Toby wrestled a guy. He wrestled Randy Savage for like a little bit. And then Andrew, he just saw a wrestling suit and made his suit. And Tom, definitely no, he just does not have that dog in him. I don't think he could wrestle somebody without I'd be like, oh, Mr. Stark, he's pinning me down. What does Bad Bunny have to do with Spider-Man? None of these people they barely stand on their own, but now trying to loop them back into being Spider-Man people just doesn't make any sense. And that's the problem with it. You're making Spider-Man villain movies about people. You're making movies about Spider-Man villains, but you don't have Spider-Man and you don't make them villains. What's the point of these?
I feel like a broken record because everyone has already said this 10 years ago when Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, and it was just like, man, we've got the rhino suit, we've got the lizard, we've got a vulture suit, we've got octopus tentacles, we've got Green Goblin, and someone else. So we should maybe get them all together. And it's like, no, we don't want to see that. And the movie was just a trailer for the next movie. And that's what I mean. This is the problem with Sony and with cinematic universes in general. Back in 2022, this came out, and in March 2022, the Batman came out. And the Batman, loved it. I just loved it. It was amazing. And I still do. It's really, really good. And this came out. I just thought it was hilarious because of how bad it was. But these two things summarized why I'm sick of cinematic universes. And I feel like I'm going off the rails here. But don't worry, guys. I'm going to tie back in to Morbius. Barely. Kind of. But it's just like, Morbius is a small cog in a much bigger machine that is meant to crush orphans and grind up baby kittens. You know, just is an evil machine. And it feeds off of creative, liberties and everything. And it's just awful. And they just, like, it sounds insane right now. But I'm a film major. I just really like film stuff. So seeing this does make me a bit sad. But like with the cinematic universe, take for example, Ant-Man. I was gonna do Captain Marvel, but I haven't seen the Marvels, so I'm not gonna bring up Captain Marvel. Maybe that just made it worse. Wait, that did it. That didn't. Nope. There we go. I think that's better. But look at Ant-Man, okay? Ant-Man is in the MCU. You've got Ant-Man. You want to watch it by itself, you can, but then they start bringing up S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter and Tony Stark's dad, Howard Stark, and Falcon and the Avengers and Captain America and Ultron and all this stuff. And you're like, what is happening? And it's like, well, you needed to watch the first couple of movies. And you're like, okay. So then you watch Ant-Man and the Wasp. Then I really loathe Ant-Man and the Wasp. I can't stand it, and I haven't been able to rewatch it in years. So I'm not, but it's an alright sequel. It makes sense in context, but it's not a good movie. And it leads up into Infinity War. Or no, it came after Infinity War, leads up to Endgame. So the movie ends, it's a normal movie all the way to the end, and then the characters turn into dust. Then you need to watch Endgame. You have no idea what happens next. Then they magically get brought back, Infinity Stones, whatever. Ant-Man 3, Quantumania. Then you need to watch Ant-Man. Oh, wait, I forgot. Ant-Man, Civil War, Infinity War, Ant-Man 2, Endgame. To watch a trilogy, you need to watch 3 separate, other movies, basically. Wait, no. Oh, wait. You need to watch Captain America 2. Well, let's see. Yeah, Captain America 2, Avengers 2, 3, 4. I'm doing my thumb. Civil War. And that's what, 7, 8 movies? I stopped counting. I'm trying to remember this, but that's what I mean. The cinematic universe has just become a cluster. Like, even recently I read the Nick Spencer run of The Astonishing Ant-Man, and it was a really, really good, astonishing. I can't remember all the little, verbs and junk, whatever they're called. I feel so stupid right now. All this morb has burnt me out. But you read The Astonishing Ant-Man, and you're like, okay, this is a good story. So I realized, oh, I need to read, the Ant-Man story before that and the Ant-Man story before that. I kind of get that. And then halfway through the story, they're like, yep, the world is going to end. And I'm like, oh, the world's ending? Okay. How's he going to stop that? And then he doesn't. And the world blows up and he dies. And I was like, what? And then the next issue, it comes back. And I was like, oh, okay, so they're going to pretend everything's normal and then, bring it back and show how he did it. And I was reading it and I was like, oh, no, they're not doing that. So I was like, what happened? And apparently it's like, nope, you need to read Secret Wars. You need to read Secret Wars in order to understand the Ant-Man thing. And that's the thing with comics, interconnectivity. But he dies in the story and then comes back and then they don't mention it. So I feel like this is what this is. It is just interconnectivity, and if you didn't do your homework, you failed the test. That's what these have become, pop quizzes. These are what movies are now. They're just pop quizzes, and you didn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now you won't be able to understand Stiltman. Like, oh, I was so looking forward to Stiltman, but now I gotta watch the Marvels and everything, Captain Marvel and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Moon Knight. Like, this is mad annoying, So all of this is me trying to say Morbius needs a little bit of leeway, I feel. I like, obviously it's not a good movie. It's the bad kid in class cutting up, and then you find out they're getting beat at home, and you're like, man, you're a terrible kid, but I understand why. That's what Morbius is. And so I'm just like, you look at the behind the scenes stuff and the trailer and the trailer breakdowns and this and that and this, and then you realize it's a completely different movie. Practically on the Snyder Cut level. I won't say that, but practically. Just because Morbius got chopped. It got chopped up and Frankenstein and stitched together, and it's really weird to watch because it is not a whole movie. You see the trailer, you look, I saw some of these behind the scenes things, and I was like, oh, that's, this scene. There's one where he was running on the rooftop, and I was like, oh, that's the rooftop scene, and except there are more cops and everything like that. So I was like, oh, so that means he probably took longer or something to get up the stairs or whatever, or they already had cops on the roof, or they came down, but we won't know because, again, they just got that scene and they're like, okay, cut it out, and it's gone. It is raining mad heavy right now. Sean? Oh, wait. Jason? And that's what I mean, again, with the Tyrese Gibson thing. He was supposed to have a cyborg arm, and they cut it out. And they never show his arm in the movie, but they mention his arm, and it's quite clearly to be like, hey, in case you see anything wrong with his arm, don't worry about it. Like, we weren't even paying attention to the arm until you brought up not to pay attention to it. Like, it's like cinematic lamp shading. Like, they're just like, hey, don't worry, we're going to explain this away so you don't have to think about it. But it's like, well, now that I think about it because you told me not to, it's like, it just doesn't make sense. So what did we learn from Morbius? I don't know.
That Sony can be really mean sometimes, and artistic expression is slowly being killed. I feel like that's a really grim way to go. I feel like something we can learn is, regardless of how things turn out, it can always be fun, Morbius isn't a good movie by the stretch of any imagination, but Daniel Espinosa, he's a good director, I'm pretty sure. All of the actors are good, or at least in good stuff. I love Tyrese and his Django audition. I love it. I love that. Wait. Finding Django, presented by Disney.
Please! No!
The zooms makes it look like it's from The Office. I don't know, man. I guess if you want to do All Morb May, go ahead. If you don't, please don't. But regardless of what we can and can't control, I think we need to focus on just having fun, Not a very in-depth thesis, but regardless of what may happen and things that may change, we can always find some enjoyment, I feel like there's a Bible verse somewhere in there. I don't know, this was fun. It started out fun, then it got really, really tedious, and then it got fun again. So thank you for sitting through like an hour of me ranting and babbling on about Morbius and Sony and Marvel. Thank you to whoever may watch this. Man, it sounds like a suicide note. Thank you for watching this. Just shout out to some people. Brandon, Taunt, Jacob, Jason, Justin. That sounds like, what's his name? Horton. Like Sally? Harry Hoovel. But yeah, thank you. Thank you all. And definitely shout out to the YouTube channel Now Playing. I'm gonna put their channel in the description, because without them I wouldn't have like any of these clips. Major shout out to Now Playing, the channel. Without them I wouldn't have any of these clips, really, so I gotta shout them out. Most definitely shout out Sony. Sony, please don't take down this video. I'll be a rod. I'm sorry, man. And thank you to whomever may find this and watch this. Whether you're a long-term subscriber, or, someone who just found it. So thank you in particular. I don't know how monetization is gonna work on this video. All of the clips are from the movie and other stuff, and a lot of music. So if I get monetized, probably never, but probably won't. But this was fun regardless. I want to do something lighter in the future, maybe something like Austin and Ally or something Disney. So yeah, thank you. K-Filet. Bye bye.
Morb May. Morb March. I'm the biggest Morb. I'm the biggest Morb. I'm a dinosaur. You're a tiny boar. I'm a biggest Morb. I'm the biggest Morb. You're a little boar. You're a little boar. I'm a biggest Morb. I'm the biggest Morb. I'm a Megazord. You're a tiny boar. I'm the biggest morb, I'm the biggest morb. I'm Rocky 4, you're Rocky 3. Yeah. You drink pee, you smell like cheese. Yeah. But I'm the biggest morb, cause I got Milo right here. Yeah. And I got Tyrese. Yeah. And Al Madrigal. Yeah. And Daniel Espinosa. I'm the biggest morb, I'm the biggest morb. You're Rocky 5, I'm Rocky 4. Yeah, I'm the biggest morb. Yeah, I'm the biggest Zord. Yeah, I'm a dinosaur. Yeah, you're a little ant. But I'm Morbius. Yeah,
Can't mess with the more. Watch a Toy Story 4 with door, go to door.